Psalms 23 means so much to me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So what does that mean? I shall not want anything but Jesus, not these stories. I listened again to that guy last night. It's funny. It says the world's spinning and turning. That's what the people teach, not what Jesus teach, not what God teaches, not these books. People can't see it because they're not lying down in green pastures with Jesus. So let me finish this. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Stop. The only thing I want is the truth. And these guys tell lies and stories. And they barely have their Bible open. So you have to watch for them. He maketh me lie down in green pastures, in good pastures. Get it? Pastures, not fake pastures, good pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for my name's sake. Yea, though that I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. We are walking in the valley in the shadow of death every day. Okay? We are not to fear it. I fear no evil, right there. For thou is with me, my rod and my staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with my cup runneth over. He fills your cup and he gives you more than you need. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So the problem is, they listen to these fake teachers telling stories. One day, oh, I don't believe in those books. The next day, oh, I love those books. That's what this guy was saying last night. Contradicting, okay? Telling stories, not Bible stories. Stories of his cousin and this and this and that. Coming up with new stories all the time. I'm not here to listen to a story from man. He is just a man, a false teacher. Beware for them. They wear sheep's clothing. They sound good, making up stories, telling lies. Not many Christians believe the world isn't spinning, but it isn't. I've done my research long enough to know. Okay? You tell me in the Bible where it says the earth is turning or spinning. Not once. The courses of the heavens move. We are stable. We are fixed. Cannot be moved. We're like a cottage. They don't really move cottages. When a cottage is built, it stays there. Telling stories, I had to shut them off after 5 minutes. The Lord just shows me more and more against these fake teachers. We're gonna be in Mark here. Mark 14 is where we're gonna start. Okay. Watch these guys. They sound good. They're tail bearers. Okay. A tale bearer means someone that's not reading it and teaching it out of the Bible. This guy does that much. One day he's saying don't believe in these books. The next day he's telling you how much he loves them. You have to watch for that. You have to listen to what the guy is teaching you. He keeps teaching a repeated lie. Get out of there. He's a false doctor. We lieth in green pastures, don't we? That's not a green pasture. Okay. The guy is phony baloney. Okay. So we're gonna move on. After 2 days, the feast of the Passover and the unleavened bread. Okay, what's leaven? And it leavens the whole loaf. False doctrine. So the chief, the priests, and the scribes sought how they might take him by craft and put him to death. He speaks against me, tried to take me by his craftiness. Okay, sounding good, making stories, telling lies. Eat the apple. That doesn't even make sense. He keeps repeating the same things. And then he adds stories in. Okay? But they said no. They said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar of the people. And being in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at meat. So sitting at meat is getting taught meat, okay? Not stories, making up stories, telling lies about Adam and Eve and the apple. Seduced means to lie with, okay? Not to eat an apple. God's not going to kill anyone for eating apples. That's not what it's about. Then came the woman having an alabaster box, an ointment of spike and very hard, precious, and she broke it, the box, and poured it on his head. And that was worth a lot of money. And she gave everything she had. That was a very expensive anointment because he was going to die. He gave her everything, or she gave him everything. And there was some that had an indignation within themselves. These people have it. False teachers have it. And they tell stories against what your truth is. That's not what we're to do. And said, why was this waste of the anointment made? For it might have been sold for more than 300 pence and have been given to the poor. And they murmured against her. Seems to be doing that today. They teach against us. They tail bear. That's telling stories. Well, I'm going to teach Enoch. Never does. And when he does, he only goes so far. Well, I believe in Enoch, and I love Asteris, and I love the book of Baruch. But have you taught the book of Baruch once? No, you haven't. He's a book writer. He's a poet. Okay? We don't listen to poets. Most teachers of the word of the Lord barely know how to speak and read. Okay? Moses barely knew how to do that. I barely know how to do that. These guys make stories up. Anyways, so 6. And Jesus said, let her alone. Why trouble her? She has wrought a good work on me. I'm that woman. Okay? This is what he's talking about. The real children of God are called the bridesmaid. So for you have the poor with you always, and whensoever you will, ye may do them good. But me you have not always. And that's coming. There's going to be a time where the Mikey L's hands lift off and we have a lost hour of testing. Okay. It's going to be tough. It's called the lost hour of testing. Verily I say unto you, whosoever this gospel shall be preached the whole world, this also that she had done shall be spoken of for a memorial to her. And Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went into the chief priests to betray him unto them. What do they do to us? Well, a false doctrine's betraying you, by the way, misleading and misguiding you. And when they heard it, they were glad and promised to give him money and sought how he might conveniently betray him. Okay, that's how they're doing with us. They're seeing how they can betray us. It's happening left, right, and center to me with everybody. Okay, there's so many false teachers around today. It's unreal. That's why the Lord has me teaching away from it, telling you the signs. The world spinning is one of them. You go and find that anywhere in the Bible, rotating or spinning. None of these books ever say it. They say opposite of that. They teach the things that people that Christ don't believe in. The flat earth. I believe it is. Yesterday I saw the the truth of that. When I said, no, it is, I had thousands of people attacking me that don't even believe in God. So they're teaching things that non-Christians believe. Are you supposed to do that? Like-minded. No, you're not. Telling stories about Eve ate an apple off of a tree of evil. A tree is Satan, a full-grown tree, a dark tree. An evil tree cannot give off good fruit. Okay? A good tree cannot give off evil fruit. I cannot give off evil fruit. I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I love doing this. The Lord wakes me up for it. Okay? I got one of the hardest jobs I ever had in my life. It is hard. I can only work 5 hours a day at it. It's just way too hard. So the first day of unleavened bread, and when they killed the Passover, his disciples said unto him, where will thou that we go and prepare that thou mayest eat the Passover? Jesus is the Passover. Okay. He sendeth forth 2 of his disciples, and saith unto them, go into the city, and there shall meet you a man bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him. You know what that means? There shall be a man bearing a pitcher of water. What's that water? The Spirit-filled person. There's a man giving out the true spirit of water, that he gets fed by God and Jesus and the spirits in the heavens, because it all runs down onto us, not these fake teachers. Their water and their well has run dry. They sound faker and faker every day, okay? Because God is waking me up to them. For you guys, not for me. Don't listen to these guys. They're like a prey. They're preying on people for money, okay? And to false lead people on purpose. Not showing your face, Jesus showed his face. Telling a lie about your name, a little bit of leaven leavens the whole loaf. I couldn't even listen to him last night. Disgusting. Telling stories. Oh, I couldn't write books. You probably already did, the way you speak. So, and whensoever he shall go in and say, Ye to the good man of the house, the master saith, Where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he will show you a large upper room furnished and prepared there. Make ready for us. What's that mean? He will, and I don't like to do it. The guest chamber is for you guys, the ones that come sit on the tree to listen to the proper teaching of God, not under a tree that's giving off bad lies and bad fruit, saying they have the way. And he will show you a large upper room furnished and prepared there. Make ready for us. That's what I do. I'm the one that's helping prepare the way. I'm not preparing it. I'm just helping. And his disciples went forth and came into the city and found as he said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. So he's getting ready to pass over again. And in the evening he cometh with 12. And as they sat and they did eat, Jesus said, Verily I say unto you, one of you which eateth with me shall betray me. Okay. So there's always someone in your feast of charity that's ready to kill you. And today it's worse. I believe it's way worse. Many people are in my feast of charity looking to take me down. Go ahead. The Lord's not going to allow it. So he fights for me. So we're in Mark 19. And they began to be sorrowful, and to say unto him one by one, Is it I? And the other said, Is it I? And he answered and said unto them, It is the one of the 12 that dippeth with me in the dish. So that's these guys, and there's many of them dipping in the dish, okay? And God shows me who they are, okay? Not to call their name out. That's for you to figure out who I'm talking about. He is the fault. He's on YouTube once a week with stories, okay? Telling stories. Listen to my dream. They're going to come true. I haven't seen any of them come true in the last many years, okay? Your dreams are fake and mine are real. That's another thing he does, right? Don't listen to your dreams. They're just dreams. But here's mine. These people are easy to pick out for me now. The Son of Man indeed goeth, as it is written of him. But woe to the man whom the Son of Man is betrayed. If you're being betrayed, then that's not Jesus. He's talking about woe to the Son of Man is betrayed. That he betrays Jesus by teaching a false word. That's betraying Jesus. So good where it is for that man if he had never been born. So that's same with these Judas Iscariots here today, misleading people. Like it says, it'd be better that they tie a millstone around their neck and throw themselves in the sea. Here's another one. It'd be better that for Sodom and Gomorrah in that day than for that man. Misleading people is the worst thing that can happen to God's children, because that's what Judas Iscariot tried to do, right? Thank God they had Jesus totally with them, so they couldn't be misled. So he looked to kill him because he envied Jesus and he envied all the truth. They don't like the truth. And when they hear it, they change it. Okay. Some people get mad. These ones change it. They tell you the world is spinning. No, the courses of the illuminaries, they move, not the earth. Okay. And gave to them and said, take, eat, this is my body. And took the cup. And when they gave thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank of it. And he said unto them, this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many of the remissions of sins. He didn't say it there. For many. Verily I say unto you, I will drink no more of the fruit of the vine until that day that I drink it new in the kingdom of God. You can't be new. You're drinking of the vine, but you're not drinking until that day I drink anew in the kingdom of God. So what's the new? It's the Spirit being pressed out, the wine being pressed out of you. And you can only drink it new when you're in your glorified body with God and sitting at the table of the wedding of the supper of the Lamb, where you get full truth. You get it all. You will understand everything. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. And Jesus said unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. So they're being offended because of the true word, and they're storytelling against it. That's a talebearer, a storyteller. He's telling tales, okay? And they won't see it. And it's almost frustrating to me, but thanks to be it to God and Jesus, okay? That's all I have to say about that. I'm to speak against the false word. So, and Jesus said unto them, ye all shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. So that's going to happen. Okay. That's why I don't get upset. That's why I'm not mad about it. That's why I just do what I do, because he is the avenger, not me. Right here, he said he's going to smite the shepherd. Mm-hmm. The false shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. They should go listen to someone that's telling the truth instead of these liars. Okay. But after that I am risen, I will go before you in Galilee. But Peter said unto him, although all shall be offended, yet will not I. I'm not offended by it. It's not me that he's hurting. It's himself. It's all going to come back down on him for teaching and hiding his face and telling the world's going in circles and spinning. He does that against me. He listens to my channel. Okay. I know he does. He says I don't listen to anybody. Oh, but you should listen to the guy with the rough voice, the ruffian. Yeah. Tells some truth with some lie. And Jesus said unto him, I say unto thee that this day, even in the night before the cock crows twice, thou shalt deny me 3 times, thrice. But when he spoke more, here is a prophecy. So then came to the place which was named Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, sit ye here while I shall pray. And he taketh with him Peter and James and John, and began to be sore amazed, and to be very heavy. And he saith unto them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful unto death. Tarry ye, death come, hear and watch. Okay. And he went forward a little and fell on the ground, and he prayed that it were possible that hour might pass from him. So he was a little bit feared because he had to go to the cross. He asked God if he could let it pass over him. And Abba, Father, all things are possible unto thee. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what thou wilt. So he already knew. Okay. He was a little bit frightened, a little bit wouldn't you be if you knew you were going to be put on a cross, whipped and beat and lashed and prodded? So, and he was asking the Father if he would let it pass over, but no. And cometh and findeth them sleeping, and say unto Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? Couldst not thou watch in this in 1 hour? So that's talking about what's coming with us. We need to watch in these final hours. Okay. And they're sleeping. They're listening to someone that's not even teaching out of a book. He teaches a little bit out of it, and then he goes into stories. He entraps them and intrigues them with the Bible, and then intrigues them with his stories. I don't get it, man. How does this guy survive? I mean, he's going to lose his flock pretty soon. And he cometh and findeth them sleeping in that hour. You are not to be sleeping in the hour. If Jesus comes back and finds you sleeping, well, I don't know what happens from there, and I'm not going to talk about it. Watch ye and pray lest you enter into temptation. In this hour, if you're not learning and reading and listening to someone preaching the real word, you're going to fall into temptations, because this is the harder time, the toughest time ever was and ever will be. So the spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak. Our flesh, our man, our corn husk, our goat, our stranger, our man, it's weak. It's always weak. Keep in the hour when you get weak, pick up your Bible. That's what will strengthen you. Don't listen to these guys telling stories, because it's only going to keep you from growing. Okay. So they feed the dogs at the table with the scraps. And that dog isn't growing, it's like feeding plants and then not feeding them for months. They're not going to grow, not giving them sunlight. They're going to wither. Okay. And again, he went away and he prayed and he spoke the same words. And when he turned, he found them asleep again. This is now. For their eyes were heavy, neither wist they want to answer him. They got weak. Okay. What it says here is the spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak. The flesh will weaken you, and fake stories and fake teachings will weaken you. And you're sleeping when you're listening to it, because you're not hearing the word of the Lord. The true word of the Lord doesn't come from me, comes from heaven. I glorify him that he gives it to me, because I'm just that donkey. So neither wist thou want to answer him. And they cometh on the third time and saith to them, Sleep on now and take your rest. Is it enough that hour is come? Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Well, that's us. Rise up, let's go. Lo, he that betrayeth me is at hand. Always. If they're betraying you, they're betraying the Lord. I have it all around me, all sides. I know what it is. So you're resting and sleeping in that hour. Are you hearing the Lord's voice when you're resting and sleeping? Absolutely not. That's what that is. It's no time for rest. We'll rest when we get up there. There's no rest down on this earth. We rest at night. That's what that means. We can fall asleep. So, and sometimes we get woken up by the Lord. That is to do something for the Lord. Okay. And I was woken up at 5:30 to come and do this. And immediately while he yet spoke, cometh Judas, one of the 12, with him a great multitude with swords and staves, and the chiefs and priests, and the scribes and the elders. You see that? That's what's happening. That's happened to me. Many come up against me. My own mother, my own sisters, my own sons, and they're gathering themselves together to go up against you. That's the same thing with words, though. And immediately while he spoke, come Judas, 12 of them with the swords, and the priests, and the scribes, and the elders. And he that betrayed him had given them a token, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, that's the kiss of death, the same is he. Take him and lead him away safely. And as soon as he was come, see what he said? Take him away and lead him away. The one that was betraying him was taken away safely. Their flesh. So as soon as he come, he goeth straightway to him, and he say, Master, Master, and kissed him. It's called the kiss of death. So, and they laid their hands on him and took him. And one of them stood by and drew a sword and smote the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. And Jesus answered and said unto them, are ye come out as against a thief with a sword and with staves to take me? So this guy stooped and he cut off the ear of Jesus, of one of the ones that was taking Jesus. You don't do that, okay? You don't take the sword and use it against him just because he's doing it to you, okay? Because we have a defender, and his name is Jesus and God, okay? I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and you took me not, but in the scriptures must be fulfilled. All right, he had to die. There's no other way. And they forsook him and fled. They turned their back on him. He's been teaching these people. Even Peter did it. Peter denied him 3 times. And they seek to save their own life. So, and he followed him, a certain young man having a linen cloth cast about his naked body. And the young men laid hold on him, and he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. When you leave Jesus and you flee from Jesus, you're naked, okay? It says it many times in the Bible. When you're sinning, you're naked. He's not covering you in that hour. So if he was to come back while you were sinning and you were naked, you wouldn't make it. What's these false teachers doing? They're making you naked in the long run. You're being misled, and you're not hearing what Jesus is saying. You're hearing what some guy is, and you're calling him great. Don't ever call me great, okay? I'm not great. Were assembled the chief priests and the elders and the scribes, and Peter followed him afar off, even into the place of the high priest. And he sat with the servants and warmed himself at the fire. Don't we warn ourselves when we're going through fire? Same sort of thing. Our spirit warns us. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. So, and the chief priest and all the council, here comes a good one. And all the counselors sought for a witness against Jesus to put him to death, and found none. They found nothing wrong with him. For many bear false witness against him. These guys bear false witness against me, even the highest ones that I've listened to. And God told me to get away from them. and witness against them, okay? But their witness agreed not together. So for many bear false witness against him, but their witness agreed not together. So, and there arose a certain and bare false witness against him, saying, We heard him say, I will destroy this temple that I made with hands, because the ecclesia is not in a building, okay, or someone with a PayPal button. Okay, anybody with a PayPal button is a false teacher, and I'll tell you right now, because we're poor. The real teachers are poor, just like Jesus was. Don't you have to be like Jesus? With nothing. I thank the Lord that I even make it today. Okay, He gives me enough just to make it, and that's all I want to do. So, within 3 days, I will build another made without hands and PayPal buttons. Just adding that on there. Quit listening to them, because you're not going to grow. Okay, so if you notice any false doctrine, get out. You're not going to grow. Any false doctrine makes you wither and not prosper. You need to grow. You don't need to sit there in the muck and mire and withering and not prospering inside. As your soul prosper, so does your flesh. So when the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, saying, answering, Thou nothing, what is it which these witness against thee? If you're not witnessing for Jesus and you're teaching false teaching, you're witnessing against Jesus, okay? You're telling these antichrists the world is spinning. You're teaching what the world's teaching. You have no right to teach what the world's teaching. That's why only a remnant go, because they all believe in the false thing that the earth is moving. It's one of the biggest satanic lies. It is, because you need to know the heavens, okay? You need to know the truth about the heavens, not NASA and these guys saying, well, don't believe in NASA, but they're teaching it. So, but he held in peace and answered nothing. So, if they're teaching what NASA's teaching and all these antichrists is teaching, don't you think it's wrong? There's not many Christians teaching the world is flat and we're in under a dome and there's 4 angels on the 4 corners of the earth. They're telling lies and propaganda. They're basically like you would say, the news. You might as well listen to the news, okay? But he held his place and he answered nothing. And again the high priest asked him and said unto him, Art thou the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? And Jesus answered as, I am. And ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand with power and coming in the clouds of heaven. There's my dream I had to everybody. How is it possible for every single buddy to see Jesus if the world is round? What about the backside of the world when he comes? How are you going to possibly see him if you live on the backside of the world? That's impossible, even for God and Jesus, right? Because you won't see him. You'll have the world blocking you. That tells you that the world isn't round, by the way. So let me say it again. And Jesus said, I am, and ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven. All eyes will bow. Even the ones who pierced him will see him. How is it possible if you're on the bottom side of the earth? There's a scripture says the world's flat, by the way. That's how you see him. Everyone's going to see him. So they teach against this stuff and they mock us, okay? And go listen to Paul Begley and find out what happens to your ears, okay? He's a false teacher. Doesn't mean he's not of God. I don't know that yet. But let's say I do, but I don't tell people anything bad against the guy because he's bringing a lot of people into Christ, right? But most of them are going to fall, by the way. So now I don't know which ones, right? So what up, T-Dog? So then the high priest rent his clothes and say, what need we any further witness? You have heard the blasphemy that they that think ye, and all the condemned him to be guilty of death. Hi, Cormac. How you doing, buddy? You have heard the blasphemy that these people teach. And some began to spit on him and cover his face and to buffet him. But that's what Satan does all the time. That's what these false teachers do. They're feasts in your charity, and they come to destroy you, and they can sound like they're really good and have a good voice. But if you're not hearing the word of the Lord, you're not going to be able to pick up on false doctrine. Okay, you need to pick up on false doctrine. Quit listening to everybody on YouTube and anybody that preaches rapture. And I can tell you right now, the Lion of Judah, I used to listen to that. I will not listen to it anymore. And say unto him, prophecy, and the servant did strike him with the palms of their hands, and they beat him and they struck him. Okay? So you guys should know. You guys should really know who to listen to by now. Okay? And that's my great concern because I don't want to see people fall. I don't want to see people follow these guys into a ditch. Okay? Let the blind lead the blind into a ditch. Don't go into that ditch with them because getting out of it is very hard. Okay? If you want to listen to someone on YouTube, Controversy 7's great, and Eddie Paul Flowers is great. As for the rest of them, I don't know. Okay? It's up to you to hear the voice of Jesus. If you're hearing them teach the temple and the cow, I go like this. I quit listening to them. God's not going to wait on a cow. He's not going to wait on them to build a temple that isn't his. His temple is being built now, and that is us. And we are in his temple. It's built without hands and walls. No churches or PayPal buttons. They're excluded. Okay? They're not a part of it. They're teaching for their own gain. I gain nothing from this. I don't want to gain anything from this, all right, guys? I do this because I love you. Trying to help you stay away from these guys that cause you not to grow. So the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You don't want anything but the truth. He is the way, the truth, and the life. And they won't see the truth. Okay, they see the earth is spinning, and that's what they teach. That's what NASA teaches, and many of people that don't even believe in God believe in that. So why are people out teaching that? Doesn't even make sense to me. If you're teaching what Antichrist is teaching, are you teaching God's word? Somebody answer me that. Are you hearing God's voice? Are you hearing Antichrist's voice? The world is rotating. Tommy, have you ever seen in the Bible it says the world is rotating or spinning? Have you ever seen that? Yes or no? I haven't. I'm only on my 5th time, but I've listened to the Bible many times, and I've never ever seen or heard anything of it. when it's kicked out of the spot like a cottage. Cottages are usually built in that spot and they stay there forever. So, and weebling and wobbling or tilting isn't a full rotation. Why are people teaching this? Because they're antichrist. Anybody teaching that is antichrist, especially if they had, well, I love Baruch and Esdras, but have you ever taught it? No, they only give pieces out of them. Same with Enoch, because they don't want to give you the full truth. They're giving you the scraps that the dogs get at the table. Remember, Jesus said, how can I tell you things of the heaven when you don't believe the things on earth? Okay. How can I tell you the illuminary courses? If you don't believe the things on the earth, you're not going to believe them. Okay, guys, so I'm going to leave you guys, and I'm going to start back here. Can't go past 3 o'clock at my job or 4 o'clock at my job. It's way too hard. IKEA is the most busy building I've ever seen in my lifetime. It's one of the hardest jobs, pushing carts, because you're hundreds of carts are being used hourly there, and it's not easy. It's a hard job. Yeah, you got it right. So, Cormac, and you're reading the Bible. Have you ever seen that the world is rotating? By the way, it only explains planet once in the Bible in all these books because God was talking to the heathen and they don't understand the heavens. No, you've never seen once, right? These guys teaching that are teaching an antichrist teaching. NASA. I even heard him say, well, let's check the science on it. If you ever hear a teacher saying, well, I believe in the science on that, get away from them. The science is false. God bless you guys. See you tonight. Yes, you understand it, Cormac. And you're relatively new. Well, we're all relatively new, right? So you're hearing the word of God. The firmament is created by God. It shows God's handiwork. Huh. One guy tried to disclaim the flatness by a bridge built on an angle, an arc, because it's stronger when it's built on an arc, like a curve in the bridge. That's how it's stronger, because it curves up, not down. If they were to build it flat, then it goes down quicker. So they build it up on a curve because it's stronger. I was just laughing at these. They had a 19-year-old girl trying to teach against the flat earth, saying in 1865 they said this and that. No, all the way back to the Egyptians, that we live under a dome. I've showed the pictures from the walls. The writing's on the wall. I'm telling the truth. And the stars are in the firmament. Okay? And God sits on the circle of the earth. He sits on top of the dome, not the corners, because the angels are the four corners, the four pillars on the four corners of the earth. And that is all ice. You go that way, you eventually hit ice. You go north, west, south, and all this other, you hit ice. Okay? This one was teaching on Antarctica last night. Oh, there's grounds coming in from Antarctica. Man, you got some stories, dude. God bless you guys. See you tonight.